Mike has gone on to have a very distinguished career as a leader in the healthcare arena, and he's now board member of our company doing lung function testing, PulmOne. Mike Berman.
Thank you very much, John. It's good to see you again. We both look a little different than we did back in 1978. Here you see a picture of the PulmOne mini box, which is a device that was designed and developed and approved by the FDA and now is a commercial device in the United States for doing complete pulmonary function testing. Pulmonary function testing is when you go to a pulmonologist or an allergist and they measure the amount of air that flows out of your lungs, the volume of your lungs, and the diffusion of gases across the lung membrane. If you go to the next slide, please. This is what it looks like when being used by a patient, and this probably doesn't look all that remarkable to you. Looks like something that you would expect, but if you go to the next slide, you'll see what this looks like compared to the competition. The competition is body plethysmography. 90% of the pulmonary function tests done in the world are what you see in the body plethysmography column there, where you see a patient inside of a telephone booth a size device, and the patient does about 20 minutes of breathing maneuvers in order to have the complete pulmonary function test done. There are some other niche devices that can do the same thing using helium and nitrogen, but the body box is the gold standard today. And the mini box essentially is better, faster, cheaper in just about every category. It's smaller, it's quicker to use, it's more portable, it's just as accurate. The test duration is quicker. As we have now realized, also a very important additional advantage in the world of COVID is that disinfection control is much better. Imagine if you've got 10 patients that are getting pulmonary function tests, and imagine if you are trying to clean out the inside of that body box in order to prevent getting cross-patient contamination. It's much easier to actually clean the mini box exterior than the body box interior. As you can see on this slide, there are a lot of patients in the world that have pulmonary problems. We expect those numbers, unfortunately, to go up significantly as a result of COVID running through the population. We would expect many, probably tens of millions of patients a couple of years from now to have lung damage as a result of COVID, and the proper assessment of these patients will most likely involve a proper pulmonary function test. If you go on to the next slide, you can see here that this is the current protocol from the American Thoracic Society and the European Respiratory Society of how you do a proper full pulmonary function test. I won't go through all the details here, but suffice it to say that our mini box is as accurate as the body box system. Next slide. We have basically a game changer in this field. We're now selling in the United States. We've got about 300 customers. There's about 15,000 potential customers out there that we are reaching out to in order to sell the system. If you go to the next slide. Here are the results of the clinical trials that we've done. I won't go through all these, but we've tested this in hundreds of patients, and we see accuracy that is very accurate when compared to the body box gold standard. Next slide. Lots of physician testimonials. They love it. If you go on to the next slide. Interestingly, the first market that we have gone after is the replacement market. There are 15,000 body boxes out there, but there are also quite a number of physicians and physician offices that only do spirometry. They don't do full pulmonary function testing. And 2/3 of the revenue that we've had thus far have been into this new market, this expanded market, where physicians are using our device. Instead of sending the patient to the body box, they're bringing the full pulmonary function test to the patient in the office. And we actually expect that that will be positively impacted by COVID as well, where physicians and patients are going to be reluctant to send their patients to hospitals to get tested, and instead would choose to have the pulmonary function testing done in their offices. Next slide. You can see our revenue growth and our projected revenue for 2020. And if you move on to the next slide, that's the summary. Unfortunately, in the post-COVID world, we expect that there will be quite a number of patients who need to have full pulmonary function testing, and we intend to be there to help out with the management of these patients. Thank you all very much for your interest.
Thank you, Mike, for that presentation.